right, good evening, NorCal Carters, and we're back again with another live stream. And tonight we have a special show with some team members from GFC Karting. And let's bring in the Director of Operations, Sonny Cervelli.
Hey, how's it going,
Sonny.
guys?
I brought everybody in. Sonny Cervelli, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to talk with Sonny tonight, obviously, about GFC Karting. We're going to talk about some of the highlights from 2021, and we're going to talk about 2022 coming up. And then, like I told you earlier, kind of my style. I don't want to make it like just a blatant PR. It's let's get into the fun stories and stuff like that as well. So here we have Sonny Cervelli, and then next up we have Ayrton Littel. Team driver Ayrton Littel. So, Ayrton, where are you currently sitting? Utah or California?
I am in Stansbury Park, Utah, about 10 minutes away from my shop at Utah Motorsports Campus, and in my simulator rig.
In your sim rig. So we'll be talking to Ayrton about, again, 2021 and his plans for 2022. And you had a lot of good racing action in the 100cc class up there at Sonoma this year. So that'll be fun to kind of rehash.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to it.
And then probably the biggest name I've ever had on this show ever, the world tire changing champion. Was it 5-time running, 6-time running? Wesley Boswell?
Yeah, 5-time.
5-time running. Yeah, and literally he spins wrenches in the pits. So, and you I think you maybe won a Supernats.
Yeah.
So you can drive. Yeah. Yeah. You can join us for the old guy show.
Yeah, way back in the
day. Way back when show.
I'm not going Masters yet.
You're not.
Not like some other people who went Masters. I'm not going Masters yet.
You're not going Masters yet. All right. So again, thank you, gentlemen. And then, I forgot to introduce Ashley. So Ashley, here you go. Let's give you the spotlight for a moment.
Hey, NorCal.
So Ashley is the one that's been helping me behind the scenes, getting the stuff up and running. And she's the one who's like, Jason, you got to do this. Jason, you got to do that. Jason. So that's why we have live stream, because she's constantly texting or calling and saying, you need to do this. You need to do that. So this is Ashley.
Everyone's telling Jason what to do.
Yeah, well, I kind of need it, quite honestly. I need that kind of that kick.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, it looks like 2003. Wally Boswell.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been the Supernats.
Yeah.
On your Burrell in an ICC kart.
Yes.
TM powered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going up against another NorCal favorite, Ronnie White.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
We might have to try to get more sound out of your mic there, Wes. Just a little bit.
Maybe I can get a little closer.
So let's jump into it. Let's get the I don't know what you call it. The boring stuff out of the way. The branding. So I know we're not going to squeeze any secret information out of Sonny on this podcast, I don't think, but we're going to try to. So Sonny, middle of the year, I think middle of 2021, you were promoted to Director of Operations with GFC Karting, and that's probably been a pretty fitting role with you. I mean, for the past couple of years, you were one of the guys that was always tearing down the tents, putting up the tents, cleaning everything, just kind of help all that, the unglamorous stuff in the background, just keep it flowing to help Gary out. So now that you're, a number of months into your role, how do you like it?
Oh, yeah, I've been really enjoying it. For those that don't know, I actually started with Gary just as a driver of the team. Slowly started mechanicking every once in a while for him and started helping him at the shop and got more and more comfortable and more used to the whole program. So honestly, months before I'd been given the title, I already felt like I was working in the position I had been given. But it's been great. I've learned a ton this year. I've made a lot of good memories, and I think the go-kart's going to be even better.
Yeah, no, it's, Gary's had a lot going on, the past couple of years, and a lot of success, and he definitely needs someone like you in that role to just kind of help facilitate stuff. And I know you have put a lot of effort, and also the junior drivers. How is it working with a junior driver versus a senior driver?
Yeah, working for the junior drivers is always a little bit different than really experienced senior driver. Sometimes the conversations have to be a little bit different to try and figure out what a junior driver needs. Sometimes you just have to coach them differently. It's very easy to forget sometimes with junior drivers that they're still learning. They're not pros yet. So you kind of have to give them the time of day, and give them a couple extra chances. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. It's always cool to see, kids join the team that are struggling or learning simple things like I did at Apex. And, by the end of the year, they're fighting for podiums. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. And you guys have a lot of talent under that team, and, a lot of good things happening over there. And so for those that are wondering where Gary is, Gary's basically, he's out of communication right now. He said, nope, I'm turning off to the world for, 3 or 4 days, and it's much needed, which honestly, I was kind of glad. He said, no, Sonny's going to handle the PR stuff on behalf of GFC Karting, because I've talked to Gary quite a bit on the NorCal Karters podcast. At the beginning of the year, we did a 4-part mini series of kind of the career of Gary Carlton. So I think it was pretty well documented already. And you guys do a great job on social media with the race events, things that are upcoming. The past couple of weeks, you guys are saying new for 2022, news coming soon. So you guys are like pretty good at telling the public, hey, this is what we're up to, or this is what just happened. So it's nice to have kind of a fresh face on representing GFC in the in your role.
Yeah, cool. I'm happy you're happy to have me on. This will be fun.
Absolutely. And then we'll bring on Ayrton. We'll bring on Wesley here in a minute. But why don't you run down for 2022 what you guys are going to be, where you're going, what you're supporting, any new product features that you're going to drop tonight. Your new factory driver, Jason Berry. I don't know if anyone knows that, but that's breaking news. Sonny just found out about that just now.
You heard it here first. There you go.
So why don't you tell us about 2022? What are your plans?
Factory 206 Masters.
There you go.
No, I was actually going to run Swifter Pro.
Oh, yeah. So our season's going to start at Tucson in about a month at Challenge of the Americas. As always, we're going to run all of the Rock Challenge of the Americas. We're going to do all the Rock Sonoma. We're going to go pro karts. We're going to do the pro tours. Some of the other things we're going to do is probably the Rockfest West, and then obviously all the Vegas races, and any other interest from customers will take us to where we need to go. I mean, we always we don't have everything 100% set in stone. If we have enough customers that want to go run something that's not on the schedule, obviously we can make adjustments. So,
yeah. So again, another full schedule for GFC Karting this year.
Yeah, of course. It'll be just about every weekend. We'll be at the track, and we'll be at the shop every week working.
Yeah, and then why don't you give us like 1 or 2 highlights from 2021 that just really stand out in your brains? Like, man, whether it was on the track, off the track, just something that went down in 2021 is like, man, that was just a cool memory.
I think my favorite part about the season, for a lot of people, they look at GFC in the past as mainly a shifter kart based program. And in the last 2 years, we've really pushed in the mini karts with the cadet line, and in all of the 100cc stuff with the SS31 tag chassis. And this year we had more than once, a couple times actually, where the cadet kart, the tag go-kart, and the shifted go-kart all won on the same day. And for me, that said a lot for our team. And, the first time we had it happen, right, we were ecstatic. It was an awesome day. And by the end of the year, we started to almost get used to it, right, because it happened a couple times. And I was like, man, this is going really good for us. And I think that says a lot when a team can win in multiple categories in a day with all 3 different go-karts. So that was definitely my favorite part of the season.
Yeah, that is quite an accomplishment. And I know Gary said in the past where that mini program on the chassis side is so hard to try to develop when, pretty much none of you can fit in a cadet kart. And it's like you're relying on, an 8 to 11-year-old to give you that feedback. And then you're also watching everything going on. So to see you guys have that success, that's just really neat to see.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And then speaking of that, let's bring Ayrton up. So Ayrton's running the GFC chassis. and you've been competing in the 100cc class. I know you from the Sonoma stuff, and man, there was some great racing going on at Sonoma in 2021, and let's just say it, the tag stuff. Tony Kart has dominated the tag scene for many years, and you guys showed at many different levels. You got Sonoma, which is obviously your home track, and then you go to the big national races, and GFC's up front. What's it feel like to be a part of that program, knowing that, okay, we really need to prove ourselves with the 100cc stuff, and you guys did that.
Yeah, it's really been cool. First off, I went into the year not really expecting to do any of the racing that I did in the 100cc category or any of the racing in Sonoma. I was really fortunate to find an opportunity early in the season that allowed me to do that. But competing on the SS31 tag chassis and competing on the GFC, it's really showed me that a lot of places it's really easy for a lot of people to go with the grain and just do what everybody else is doing, because that's seen as the easiest way to be fast and the easiest thing to do. But the more time I've had on these karts, the more I've realized, like, dare to be different, right? Do something better if you can. And these really seems like this program's been able to get it done. We've had a lot of success. I've driven OTK and GFC a lot back to back out here in Utah, out in Sonoma, all over California in the last couple of years. And I've really been happy with the chassis. I think that it's one of very few things that can actually get it done and win up top against a sea of what is the opposition right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, down in Vegas, Jake Drew put it on pole, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's biggest race of the year. Let's just put it on pole. Just pretty casual.
Yeah, and it's been a really good platform, not only as a driver, but also as a smaller on the regional level, a team owner out here in Utah. It's something that I trust not only as a driver and something that I put myself in a race, but it's equipment that I sell. It's equipment that I back my business with, and it's something that I represent out here in that aspect as well. So it's been a really cool thing to be a part of in multiple aspects.
And I know you're from Utah. You've been coming out to the California stuff. What have been some of your highlights for 2021, whether it's at Sonoma or some of the other tracks? What's a couple of memories that just really stand out for you?
Yeah, I think certainly a lot of unexpected, really thrilling moments this year for me, things that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to do this year going into it. But I think for me, the one that really stands out, the one big accomplishment that I had this year was having the opportunity to host Gary and Sonny and the factory GFC operation out here at the SCUSA Spring Nationals at my home track. My business and my shop has a residency out here on site at the racetrack, and we were able to utilize that to its full potential and store over a dozen drivers indoors without any need for major tents, major infrastructure, get everyone a nice temperature controlled space, get everyone nice electricity, really use and maximize my business's assets for the benefit of everyone on GFC. So to be able to put the hard work in early into the season and provide that is a part of the program for everyone really was really cool to show what my business can do and to show what we can do out here in partnership with GFC.
So, Sonny, were you happy you didn't have to tear down and set up the tent one extra weekend?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, anyone in the industry knows that Sunday's always fun because it's race day, but as soon as the finals are done, it's the not so glorious part of the job that we all are faced with. Yeah, I think for sure you asked me another one of my favorite things in the season. Definitely Ayrton highlighted it. Utah was a blast being in the garages with him, and we were all super thankful, and it was just a great time.
Very cool. I like that perspective. It's like you helping out the team was a highlight for you, not any of your accomplishments on the track. That's really cool. And then let's bring in Wesley Boswell. How do we introduce this guy? If you've been around karting for any number of years, I mean, you remember him as a racer. If you're old like me, it's like, oh yeah, he used to be really fast. We mentioned it earlier. Super champion.
What do you mean used to be?
Used to. All right. So on that, when was the last time you drove a kart?
A couple weeks ago.
Now, were you faster than Eddie, or was Eddie not out there?
A couple weeks ago when we tested, I was quicker than Eddie, but not by. We were within the same tenth.
Is it getting a little bit harder for you where it's like, okay, maybe 5 years ago you hop in a kart at any given moment and say, oh yeah, this is easy. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to have to work a little bit more extra to lay down that same time.
Wait, it's not the hard thing is like in Sonny's case, Sonny used to drive and Sonny was fast. Sonny won races, but now you fall into the role where you start working and you become more of a team, a team manager, a big team aspect, and you can't drive like you used to, and you play a role that you have to be there, be in the pits, you have to watch everything, so you don't really get the time on track like you used to. So because you don't have the time on track, you start to lose a little bit of that edge. But I don't think it ever goes away. I think just as we get older and we spend less time on track and less time in the middle of it, we start to lose a little bit of that edge. But definitely, like if you have the time to dedicate to driving and testing and everything like we did when we were young, yeah, I think it'll come right back. I mean, I've been at many races and seen many different drivers. One, for example, that stands out to me is we were in Florida, and I seen some of the best American drivers, some of the best Canadian drivers go up against Rubens Barrichello. And Rubens Barrichello was racing DD2, not DD2 Masters, which he's eligible for. He was racing DD2 against some of the best in the country. And because Rubens was doing it every weekend with his kids, of course, right? He races his kids race. He was doing it every weekend, every other weekend. I mean, he qualified on pole. I mean, he was right there. So, yeah. So as long as you get the time to dedicate to the driving, I don't think you ever lose it, but you just lose the seat time, which, as Sonny knows, Ayrton knows, Jason, seat time is everything.
Do you ever struggle with being out of the seat, not actively racing? And I know you've done a few races over the past couple of years, but again, that's not your primary role anymore. Do you ever struggle when you're watching and you just get so frustrated? It's like, oh, why would they do that? Or have these other comments? Like, do you have a very hard time? And it's like, wait, I'm not the one that's out there.
Yeah, you definitely do struggle because you've been there, you've done that, you know what to do in that situation, what not to do. And yeah, you definitely would. I know when I was younger, I would get all distraught and upset and, throw my hands in the air and you cuss or whatever. And, over the years, I learned that I'm starting to calm down and have a lot calmer approach to it. And then when the driver comes in, I start to, gather all my thoughts and collect everything that happened in the race and then approach the driver in such a way to where, hopefully it will get to them to not make those mistakes again. And that's one of the hard things is getting to the driver and getting them to understand and to realize, like, most of it is getting them to calm down. That's because they get excited, they get into certain situations and, you make a mistake. So you never stop learning. I mean, I learn every time I go through a race. You go through the whole race weekend and you never stop improving.
Yeah. There's always something to add to the resume, right? Or the memory bank.
Yeah. Always something. Every race, there's something. And that's something that I've explained to the current driver and the driver's father that I'm working with, Eddie Shimon, is the experience. That's something that you can't buy. You can get the best equipment, you can get the best engine builder, you can get the best of everything, but the something that you can't get is the experience. And like Ayrton, or you were talking about Ayrton, he got a lot of racing this year in NorCal, and with every race you do, you gain more experience. I mean, every time you make a mistake, you better learn. If you're not learning from your mistakes, then you got problems. And that's the whole point in doing all these races. Jason, even when you and I were racing back in the day, like, I made mistakes, you made mistakes, and the thing is, you got to learn from that. And learn to not make those mistakes again, and that's what is going to make you a better driver, is the experience.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah.
Very well said. And what was some of your highlights from 2021? As a mechanic, as a driver's coach, you're kind of in a unique position. You already mentioned Eddie Shimon. So, that was your primary driver. His teammate, Ayrton Littel right here. You guys worked pretty closely together all year. So you're on the GFC product. You're kind of your standalone deal though. Next to it, I mean, you roll in with that big 30-foot, 40-foot kitchen.
Yeah, it's like 40 something feet.
40 something foot kitchen. Yeah. So what was some of your highlights from 2021?
I mean, I would definitely say the championship for Eddie was huge. That was a tremendous accomplishment on his part, and going along with that, Ayrton getting second in the championship and several race wins for both of them. Looking at where Eddie's come from and where Ayrton has come from, and being able to do that at the local level on the GFC tag chassis, and even at the we had the Rockfest race up there where we had some of the people from LA and some people from other areas come here, some new competition. We still we didn't win because again, we made mistakes and we learned from our mistakes when we had that experience, but we showed really, really good speed. In my opinion, we should have won the race, but I would say that championship at Sonoma, and with Ayrton and Eddie finishing 1-2 in KA 100, or not KA, sorry, 100cc senior.
100cc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since you bring up KA, and then we'll go to Ayrton, we'll go to Sonny on this question. Specifically at Sonoma, they were running the 100cc VLR/KA combined. Going into 2022, would you like to see that again? The combined, the opportunity when it comes to the Vortex stuff.
From my experience in this sport, I'm kind of a split decision. I like seeing the option of having both engines to choose from, but going along with that, knowing what I know, it seems like it's better just to stick with one. I think ultimately it's more successful then we start getting into like the race series promoters, right? With we go to talk about Tom, or we can talk about Andy Saisman, or the guys that run the deal up at Steve Cameron, and who has control over that. But I think a one engine program is more successful, but I definitely like the option from a racer standpoint, having either go Vortex or go KA. I love that. When I raced, it was that way in KZ. You could run the TM, you could run the Vortex, you could run the the Maxter, and the Vasey. Yeah, you could run any one of those, and it's not like there's one dominant one. Some performed well at other tracks, and you see that a little bit with the KA versus the VLR at Sonoma and at Cal Speed. We've seen it. I know it's SoCal, and this is NorCal Karters, but you've seen a mix of the engines winning at different areas when it's allowed to run both. So I think it's better for the series just to stick with one, but it's difficult for a lot of the local people to have the option or the availability to run, to have that option to run two.
Yeah, and that's what I personally felt, where having the option to run both helped with the entries, helped the entry numbers at the local stuff, which in turn gave us some great racing. A really good racing this year.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, for like at Sonoma, there was a lot of people and a lot of testing that we did, even with Ayrton. We tested with him earlier in the year, the KA versus the VLR. And nope, Nope. The KA is faster. VLR is slower. You know, that's at Sonoma we tested it. It's like 0.8 off or whatever. It's slower. But then you get, you know, we start getting ready for this VLR stuff at the end of the year, and the engine builders start working with it a little bit, and we start testing with it a little bit, and it's like you look at it and it's like, hey, you know, this VLR ain't too shabby. It's pretty quick. And when you put it up against them after the engine builders do give it a chance and work with it, and you try and get the maximum out of that engine, it ends up to be a pretty good race. Yeah. A really good race. And I remember in Cal Speed, and I'll bring up another subject that's kind of a bad thing, but I watched Colby Dubato, which if we're paying attention, we all know what happened to him, and my condolences go out to him and his family. It's very, very sad and unfortunate what happened with that situation. But talking about him, he won in Cal Speed on a VLR going up against the best KA drivers in the U.S. Yeah, and one of them being Nash, Blake Nash was on a KA, and he beat him. And so that's a statement. And it's like sometimes you go with one engine package that you think is the best one, then all of a sudden here comes this guy on something different, and he beats you all, and it kind of just like sits you like you're there scratching your head like, okay, what did we miss? Right? So I definitely like the whole racing aspect of having two options.
Yeah. Sonny, how about you?
Yeah, I think for the club level at Sonoma, having both as an option is the best. I think at the club level, it's all about getting as many people as we can out to the track to race, get experience, and there's no better way to do that than just having both engine packages. So yeah, that's really where I stand with that. You know, sometimes at bigger national races, I could understand the reasoning to have just a single engine, but I think at the club, being inclusive with all the different manufacturers would definitely help.
Yeah, and I think like over the past 10, 15 years, that series have gravitated more towards a single engine package. At the national level, you really can't argue with the entries. I mean, it has been I think it's been a great selling point to get more people on the track at the national level.
Yeah, the national level for sure seems to just keep on expanding over the last 10 years with the spec single engine format that they've been using. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ayrton, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sonny kind of hit the nail on the head right there with what it means to have that on the club level. I think that when you get to higher levels nationally and even really higher competitive levels regionally, one engine's going to be the fairest way to do it with everyone when it's all said and done. But then you've got to look at the club level with kind of a different standard. You got to look at it in a different light, because I know out here in Utah, KA was kind of the first popular 100cc engine in the modern era, and as such, it's what pretty much everyone has out here. If they were to require one or the other out here, it would decimate a class of 20 regular entry club guys. So I think it really at the smaller level, at the club level, like Sonny was saying, getting people out on track is priority number one. Referencing actually kind of a different thing that they did in Utah, but something just to get a class started, because there was no 125cc racing out here, period, for a while. And we really wanted to get it back. We wanted to see people who may not be the most experienced or be full-time karters, but that have this older secondhand equipment, and we want to get them out there. We want to grow the sport, and we want to give people another option if they want it. So we literally have a run what you brun open 125 class, and it attracts people with used Rotaxes, older Leopards, older X30s. And yeah, it's one engine's going to be better than the other, and it's spread out racing, and someone has an advantage, but it's really, it's club stuff. People will kind of start ballasting each other and leveling it out, and we find out what works and what doesn't. And I think that's a much different light when you look at that compared to the national stuff, and you really kind of answer the question differently in terms of what works and what doesn't, because that's so left field and something that really wouldn't work in many places. But when you look at a small club with a class that literally didn't exist and you've created something out of nothing. It can be really cool.
Yeah. And I agree with that as well, because it's trying to deal with people at a local level and getting them to the track. It's a very long conversation and filtering process. Like, oh, what do you want to do? Do you want to go race? Do you want to do this? Like, where do you want to race? And maybe Sonny can speak to that a little bit as far as, again, being tied in with the team, your, directors of operations for GFC. If you guys are going to Cal Speed, if you have customers calling you up, say, oh, we're going to race Cal Speed, or we're going to race Tri-C, or we're going to race Blue Max Kart Club or Prairie City. How do you guys kind of approach that with all the options that are available out there?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different in our case than other teams, because for us, we're not solely just a racing team, right? We're a brand as well.
Yeah.
So anywhere we can get people interested in our brand and on our go-karts, whether they race with the team or they race on their own or they race with another team, I mean, we support it all. Our racing team obviously just goes with the interest of our base of customers that would like to race with us. So I know we have some drivers that support other smaller championships all across the United States, internationally even now. And so, I mean, for us, being a chassis brand, our own brand, we're happy to have our go-karts everywhere. And wherever someone wants to drive, I mean, we support it.
Nice. Ashley, do you have anything for our guests?
Not right now at the moment.
Not right now at the moment?
Yeah.
Are you being shy?
No.
No. Ashley's going, no, I'm not being shy. Well, since we have Sonny on screen, so I told you I wanted to kind of get the business side of things out of the way, because it's, I don't know. I want my podcast to be a little bit different. I don't want it to be the canned PR type podcast. So my line of questioning, I'm all over the place. You guys all know me pretty well. I'm all over the place. But when you guys are on the road, and let's keep it in NorCal. I don't care if you're going to Sonoma, Prairie City. I don't care what track you're going to. What's your favorite snack shack to stop at when you're on the road going to the track or going home from a race?
Okay, one comes to mind for us. We spend a lot of time up at Sonoma. That's probably where we spend most of our days. And for me, nothing beats a sandwich or some pasta salad from Angelo's. Anyone that goes to the race has heard about it. That's the spot. It's where we all go. 100 times a year, I eat Angelo's.
A thumbs up.
Dude,
That's the
I
only
have
one
a
that comes to
card.
mind.
I have a free sandwich card because I go there so often.
Yeah. Yep. It's the best.
What's your go-to when you go there? What sandwich?
For me, lately, I haven't been doing a sandwich as much as I love the pasta salad.
Okay.
That's what I get. Yep.
All right. How about you, Ayrton?
So I know you said keep it in NorCal, and I'm going to get really, really close to that, but I'm going to split the difference between your home and my home, because often with the races that I did this year, I would get off the track and I'd immediately hit the road and start driving home, try to split the drive up and spend the Sunday night in Reno. On the way there, right on the California-Nevada border, there's a little tavern called the Sasquatch. And that's always it's a nice small little place in the middle of, I don't even remember where it is. It's off of exit 3 as soon as you get into Nevada before you get to Reno. But I stop there every night and I get either a ribeye or a salmon after a race day.
A ribeye or a salmon?
Kind of just sit and decompress from everything at that little place.
It's called Sasquatch.
I think it's actually called the Squatch.
The Squatch?
Yep.
All right. And
it's in Verde. Yeah, that's the one. It's in Verde.
Oh, Verde. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Wes, you were doing thumbs up on Angelo's.
Yeah, Angelo's. I mean, when you're at Sonoma, you have to go to Angelo's. It's the best sandwiches around. And I mean, there's other sandwich shops in Sonoma, but Angelo's is the best. If you have time, or if someone is coming to the track from the Bay Area or whatever, you got to go In and Out. You can't go wrong with In and Out.
In and Out's always a great go-to, except for the 30 or 45-minute wait in line, especially the one in Vacaville. It's are you kidding me? It's is everyone in Northern California here at In and Out on a Sunday night?
Yeah. In and Out. And when you, In and Out, you can't go wrong.
So Ashley, mix it up a little bit for us. You commute quite far into the Central Valley, specifically when you're going home from Sonoma. So where's your go-to on the way home?
I stop at In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. You're supposed to mix it up a little bit.
No, legit. Angela's and In-N-Out. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Let's see. Let's check the comment. Yeah, and Angelo's.
Angelo's.
Yeah.
Yep, beef jerky. Angelo's.
Hands down.
So I do have a question for you guys though. Where do you guys get your where do you currently get your karting content? So like if you didn't hear it from NorCal Karters, where do you hear it from?
I see a lot on all my social medias. That's basically all my social media accounts are. You scroll through, it's just go-karts, go-karts, go-karts. Friends from way back whenever, go-karts, go-karts, go-karts.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different media pages and everyone that does a good job. And honestly, I'm at the track so much too that just seeing people at the track conversation, I keep up to date that way.
Yeah. Ayrton, how do you keep your NorCal information going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys are kind of the one-stop shop for that first and foremost. But kind of like what Sonny was saying, right? A lot of us, if we're in the sport and we're this diehard about it, we really don't have too much going on in this like in the amount that this takes over our lives. So I go on social media. And it's usually the first thing I see is whatever's going on in the karting world, and then I'll call my buddies. I'll talk to my buddies all the time, and it's always the grapevine.
Okay.
Wes, how about you?
I'm the same. It's basically like whatever's posted on Facebook because I'm a Facebooker. I go on Facebook and no, I don't spend a ton of time, but it's like whatever feed comes up, whether it's NorCal Karters posting something, eKarting News posting something, or what used to be around as like Kart 360. Whoever is posting stuff on there that comes up on the feed, I mean, that's what I'll see. Or just being at the track every day and talking to the locals that are out there and hearing what's going on and hear what people are thinking or what may be doing that isn't out there on social media yet. But to answer your question, yeah, it's basically whatever's on Facebook. I don't physically go on eKarting News or NorCal Karters. I don't really go on those websites that much. I just go on social media. I don't have a Instagram. I probably should. I don't. I just whatever's posted on Facebook, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's how you can tell the different generations. Wes and I are on Facebook. The rest of you are on Instagram and probably TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta do that.
Jason's been a little obsessed with TikTok, saying we need to get on TikTok lately, and I'm like,
it's
not doing it.
It's different.
I'm not doing it.
No, so here's my whole thing about the whole social thing.
What
like with Instagram,
like 6 seconds long or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. How do you spend 2 hours on TikTok with only 15-second video? But I get people do it.
Yeah, but and I think that's a part of it, right? It's another form of media, and if there's a different generation or a different demographic out there using a certain platform, then if we're always trying to talk about how do we get more people in the sport, but we're not reaching the people on the media that they're using, that's what I mean. I've never looked at a TikTok video outside of whatever gets loaded to Facebook. Like it just. I think I tried to find their website one time and it's like, oh no, you need an app. And it's like, I'm not getting an app. But I think it's very interesting how the different generations.
There you go, Jason. You got to start making some TikTok videos.
I am gonna make some TikTok videos. Yeah,
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Yeah, where do you start with that?
Okay.
If anyone wants to sponsor the show with a brand new go-kart, I'll drive it around with wheels.
Oh my god!
And I'll TikTok them, and then I'll do them backwards, and the wheels will fall onto the carts, and then everyone's like, "How that happened?"
We got our friend Steve says boom.
Yeah.
For TikTok.
Hey, I'll show you how to change your tires in 15 seconds.
There you go. Let's do it.
And then we usually do it in reverse.
That's going to be our first.
Yeah.
There's a market for that.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. Do you make sound effects when you talk about karting?
Who doesn't?
So
Yeah,
just
it's-
in conversation, do you make sound effects when talking about karting?
Come on, Ayrton, give us a
More
laugh.
more so than the sound effects. I want to know anyone who doesn't do this.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about anything having to do with racing.
This is it's pudding side.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he did, like, we were all like this, and then he did one of these, and yep.
And then he did this.
That's the one thing I love about my job. Like when I'm out at Sonoma and I'm just roaming around the pits and I'm watching the different team members interact with each other and they're talking about the track and how animated most drivers are. Just about like they're using their hands and sound effects and well, what's the cart doing? I don't know. It's kind of going. It's like, what word is?
Although I think it's funny, I don't know about Ashley, but all of us that have driven before and have enough time in karting know what is.
Yeah,
we've all felt
Yeah, we've all felt it. And Ashley, did you actually used to drive?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, kid carts, Jason, chill.
You
Thanks
don't
for
tell
the
people that
thanks for the
part.
confidence.
You
Okay?
don't tell them that part. You just say you used to drive. You gotta be related.
And I used to wave as they were throwing the flag too. So, but
So, hey,
Come on,
Jason,
every track has that young driver that is everybody's favorite that just is out there counting
so
butterflies.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
go ahead.
Have you guys been out to Sonoma since they have redone tic-tac-toe? And what do you think of the new aspect of the whole track?
Who are you directing that
Yeah.
to?
Yeah,
Ayrton
like,
or Sonny?
everyone. I mean, because we all know Sonoma has been notoriously known for tic-tac-toe.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't like it because if you drive it the wrong way, it will destroy. Well, I shouldn't say destroy, but it will bend chassis and parts.
Yeah.
And so there have been some improvements at Sonoma over the off season, and one of the improvements is they have redone the tic-tac-toe area, so there is no longer a tic-tac-toe, and the curbs are all flat. I actually drove it before we went to Vegas, doing some last minute testing, and so yeah, Sonoma, no more tic-tac-toe. I drove it, and
So what did you think about it?
Yeah.
Were you the guy going straight through it? That my last
No,
guest was talking about?
but I did try it, and you can't go straight through, and it doesn't bend anything. It doesn't destroy chassis, it doesn't bend axles, it doesn't break axles, it doesn't do any of that. It's slow, definitely slows everything down. It's gonna be challenging for some drivers to get everything just right going down there. I feel it does take away a passing zone because the way tic-tac-toe was configured before, you could do a pass at the bottom of tic-tac-toe. Now I feel you're going so slow down there you can't pass, but it will. I think it'll still separate the locals from the non-local drivers because we'll still have an edge over them, and it's going to be good for the series, and it's going to be good for the promoters and everything, because then you don't have to talk about going into Sonoma and bending chassis.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I've been out of the seat for so long at any mentionable competitive level. But when I'm buying and selling carts, I ask people, was this kart raced at Sonoma for a season? Because Sonoma can be kind of brutal on carts if the driver doesn't know how to go through there. And like Sonny and Ayrton and it's like you can go through there properly. And then you can also not go through there properly. But yeah, no, the limited guys, we had the limited shifter guys on the last live stream. And they had some kind of mixed feedback about it. One of the gentlemen, they were talking about guys just basically going flat through there. So it's like, yeah, you're not jumping over the curbs and you're not destroying stuff, but it also didn't do anything to slow anybody down or create a passing zone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And, I mean,
it'll-
the track's been there for 20 years now, so it is kind of nice, even though they have the multiple layouts.
right.
It is nice to mix it up a little bit. I mean, we all kind of get bored of tracks. It's like, oh, well, let's go try something different. And then even a different track is like, oh man, this is so much fun.
And to go along with that, I seen Steve Cameron chime in a little bit ago. There's something that I've seen him do that I really haven't seen anyone do at Sonoma before, was to run configurations that we've never ran before, which we did that this year. And I drove the configurations, working with Eddie and working with Ayrton, and I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was good. You know, you can go to the same track and have, what do we have, Ayrton? Like 5 different layouts we ran this year.
I think so, if you count counter and normal.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you guys did that one race with the temporary barriers at Tic Tac Toe.
Yeah, we did that one race, and we were supposed to run a different configuration for that race, which I personally thought was really fun, but I guess it was a little unsafe. But that's one thing I like about Sonoma, and hats off to Steve Cameron for doing that and mixing things up and trying to keep everything fresh every race. You know, it's different.
Yeah, it makes it exciting for people.
Yeah.
So, Ayrton, have you been out there with the new Tic Tac Toe or no?
I have not yet. I'm interested to try it, but really all I've heard about it, or really the only feedback I've gotten from it, is everything Wes just said when I first talked to him about it.
Okay. And how about you, Sonny?
Yeah, I haven't personally driven it, so it's hard for me to give a true, honest opinion on this section. I've been out there 1-2 days that they've been running it now, and the first time they did the pro national turn, so we didn't actually use that part of the track. And then the second time was in the wet, so it wasn't really a true reading of how it was going down there. But again, I'm all for it. The other section was fun. It wasn't very forgiving, and with it always being a club series that mainly runs up there, except for 1 or 2 races a year, I think that this is going to attract a lot more of the guys that maybe before, were kind of deterred by the thoughts of damaging their chassis or something like that. So I think it'll be okay.
It'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's up? What do you have next, Ashley?
Okay, so earlier I wanted to ask Sonny what his his NorCal memory, racing career memory was.
What my favorite NorCal memory was?
Yeah, sorry, your favorite NorCal racing memory.
Oh man, that's tough. I don't know if Wes talked about any of his, but I do remember when Wes ran a race once with a throttle cable that was broken. And when I was really little, that was cool to watch him drive with the linkage on the carburetor. That was pretty cool.
Was that an enduro race, or was that?
I can't remember where it was. I was so young. But,
okay.
Yeah, that was a cool story.
Yeah, one of my favorites personally, and one of my favorite pictures of you is from the Nationals when you're like holding the Duffy up. And the Duffy was like almost bigger than you. And I was like, dude, that kid's so cool. So that's kind of how I remember you from like when we were younger and stuff like that. But another question I have is how does it feel seeing like kids that you used to race with in like professional motorsports racing, like Logan Sargent, for example, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 24 now. So everyone I grew up with that either was going to make it or is still trying to make it, right? You're starting to see a lot of the guys I race with all making it into different forms of motorsports, and it's cool. It's really fun, to be buddies with kids at the go-kart track, and years later they're professional race car drivers, and they might be famous and everything, but you can still text them, you can still call them, you're still buddies. It's cool to see. I mean, in no way do I look at it as like, man, I wish I could have been doing that. I'm honestly just happy for them. It's cool to watch a race and like I've raced with him, I've raced with her. I enjoy it. Yeah, it's cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Wes is back. Wes, what's your favorite NorCal memory from a race in NorCal? In your while you were driving.
From a race in NorCal, that's going to be going back.
Yeah.
Who remembers Kart Sport? Jason, you remember Kart Sport?
I remember Kart Sport.
Yeah, I don't know if Ayrton remembers Kart Sport. Sonny, do you remember Kart Sport?
I remember it going on at Sonoma. Yeah, I was really, really young.
So Kart Sport was a magazine back in the day, and they had a race at Sonoma called the Kart Sport Grand Prix. And I had not been in the seat for a year and a half. Was just taking a little break, and there was this race at Sonoma, the Kart Sport Grand Prix, and Jeff Franz, who was the owner of Kart Sport, he was the promoter of the race and everything, and put it on. I'm like, okay, I think I want to do this race, and put together a package with the local people that I was working with. I think at the time it was the Nielsen's, which they did farming out in the Modesto area. So put together a package with them. That was actually one of the first times I think I was ever on a Sweet Tech. I go to Rainey and say, hey, Rainey, I want to do this race. I need a TM, a K9B. He's like, all right. I'm like, yeah, I need a good one. You know, like everyone says to the engine builder, right? I need a good one. Give me a good one. And he gave me an engine. I'm like, is this good? He's like, it's good enough to win. I'm like, okay, all right, it's good enough to win. And so coming into the race, Jeff Franz, he was a big promoter, and he always, liked to put comments out there of other drivers and everything. And there were some drivers that were coming down to the race from some of the other teams. Jordy Vorath, he was with on the Intrepid from with Rodney on the Intrepid team. There was David Yurka on the Ital Kart from Italian Motors team. They were both like, oh yeah, Boswell, he's washed up, he hasn't been in the seat, he's nothing. And so yeah, I did that race, and they had three. It was a one lap. It was pretty cool. It was a 1 lap qualifier, 3 6-lap heat races, and then a 25 lap main event. And I ended up winning that race, and it was pretty cool because they had Jeff did a bunch of stuff, and he had like this bikini contest and like these girls going by on the straightaway, and did all these promotions and did like this qualifying deal and put on this big show. And so yeah, that was one of the biggest races to me that stands out in NorCal was winning the Kart Sport Grand Prix at Sonoma.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool event.
Yeah.
Ayrton, what's your favorite NorCal win?
Yeah, well, I've really got, I guess, 2 different periods in my life where I was involved in NorCal karting. Because obviously, just recently, I've had involvement in the last couple of years. But then before that, actually, growing up when I was younger in the Bay Area and racing primarily at the old Salinas kart track at the airstrip, if anyone remembers that. Probably going back to there because that's where it all started for me, and my dad was still racing at the time, so being able to have those experiences as a kid, right, going through Kid Kart and Junior 1 and learning the basics and doing it with my dad and just small, simple club stuff when it's really, really pure before everything else gets involved in it, I think is going to go back and be my favorite NorCal memory, which is kind of vague because it's not one in particular, but I think that's about the area that I'm looking at from long ago.
Very cool. The Salinas track, Monterey Bay.
Monterey Bay Karters.
Yeah, that was always a fun layout.
It always changed a little bit too.
Yeah.
They had the ability to do that there.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Monterey Bay Karters, it was I called it a permanent temporary track because they tried to maintain the relatively same layout, but it was on an airport tarmac on an active airport. So you'd be out the track, and then a couple airstrips over, there'd be parachuters coming in. But yeah, I always enjoyed that track. Just because it was so, I didn't know how to wrap my head around it. It was just a surface you didn't get anywhere else. It
was, if anyone's ever done autocross, it was the autocross experience for karting. You get there super early in the morning. They're setting up all the cones. They're setting up the whole facility. You do awards, and then at the end of the day, everybody, before they even start loading their trailers, everyone would go out and pick up a couple dozen cones or this or that, and everyone would help tear down the whole place, and it'd be done in an hour, and then you load up and you go home. So it was a really cool community in that respect, where it was really hands-on and everyone was so involved with making it happen.
Yeah, and there's some great food in Monterey. Just that could be its own show. NorCal Carter's eating in Monterey.
All right, last question. If you could choose a driver intro song, what would it be? Sonny C, we'll start with you.
Oh man, you got to go to these two guys first.
Okay.
Let me think of something.
Wes, this is all you first.
Without having time to like sit down and study and like listen to different songs, I would have to say AC/DC, Back in Black.
Okay.
There you go.
That's a good one.
All right.
Smooth operator.
Smooth operator.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go intense electronic. I'm going with Sandstorm. We're intense. We're going cheesy. We're getting it done.
Sonny, this is a question for Jake Neal.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Is he the DJ under the tent?
Yeah.
We've got a couple. We've got a couple rotating DJs under the tent.
Yeah, you got
big
Steve
responsibility.
Jacob Neal is the electronica DJ.
Electronica DJ.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him and Sonny.
Yep. We collaborate.
Yeah.
Do not use that word.
that's like Jason's. He wishes he had a buzzer word too.
Oh,
That's millennial. That's
collab. Let's collab.
Collab.
Oh, okay.
I said it one time and he won't forgive me.
Well, sounds like we're on the same list.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you to Ayrton for being here with the time difference and everything like that. You guys can go ahead and give your shout outs, say your final thoughts, and then Jason will close the show.
So who wants to go first with a closing thought? Or
Yeah, I can go. First of all, thank you guys for having us on. It's been fun. Hopefully we can do it all again. You guys hopefully can see us out of the go-kart track next year in 2022. We have a bunch of cool things going on. We've got some new material. We've got some new series we're going to be working with, getting our drivers to, and hopefully we can get the results going. And if you guys have any questions, or anything, just go on our Facebook or Instagram. We're all over the place at GFC Karting. So thanks again.
I have one question. Just give us at least drop one or two new things on the new kart for 2022.
Yeah,
you're going to release it in the next day or two anyway.
Correct. It's coming up. Yep. So we've actually kept both the single speed and the KZ kart very close to the same, geometrically speaking, as far as the chassis goes and everything. Mainly it's just polishing up the components. Obviously, everyone's seeing the bodywork go in the direction of the big aerodynamic pieces. So we'll have something like that. And we'll just keep on upgrading the parts, making everything easier to work with and just better out of the box.
So you're not going to tell us like specifics until you start dropping photos?
There you go.
So
I haven't even seen the new graphics.
Yep.
Yep.
You guys will have to stay tuned. Should be cool.
Yeah.
We'll keep everyone on edge, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, Eric.
There's new graphics?
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
You heard it here first.
There you go. NorCal Karting is the exclusive, right?
That would be great.
Perfect.
Be my free viewer.
Again, thanks for having me, Jason. It's cool to finally get on here and cool to get a good group of guys together and talk it all over, see what we're doing for next year. I'm looking forward to getting back out, and sounds like I'll be doing the Challenge of the America series with Wes and Eddie and everyone at GFC. Should be doing the Sonoma series as well, hopefully. From there, we'll see what else I end up doing. I'll be putting the work in at home as well, getting all of our stuff revamped here at Scuderia Littel and getting more drivers in karts, getting people out here doing our local series. I've got a couple people that even want to go to Sonoma with me and start racing out there. And nice. I've had talks from one or two people that want to come from Sonoma and drive out here. So start getting people going back and forth. And likewise, if anyone's interested in coming out here and driving, come reach out. We've got a great facility out here. It's really not too far away, and I'd love to have you. I'd love to help you get out here.
Perfect. And then plug your shop name out there.
Yeah. The shop's called Scuderia Littel. You can find it on Instagram, SCUDERIA_LITTEL. We're also on Facebook, and we'll have a new website coming out soon where people can see a list of all our services for storage and anything else they can need on site at the racetrack.
Nice. And again, that's it. What do you call it now? It's not Miller.
It's called Utah Motorsports Campus, just half an hour away from Salt Lake City, right off of I-80.
Perfect. Wesley Boswell. Final thoughts, final words.
Thank you, Jason and Ashley, for putting this on. It's good to see someone in NorCal taking hold of the NorCal Karters name and doing something with it, because I think it sat dormant there for a while. Nothing was really doing anything with it. So I like, especially like the things that Jason's been doing at Sonoma, because that's the only place we've been to. I don't know what you do at other tracks, but the announcing you do at Sonoma, great. The live feed that we've had at Sonoma, I think this year, that was huge for everyone on many aspects, and everyone enjoyed the live feed from that. So thank you for doing that, being a part of that, and just thank you to everyone in NorCal that tuned in to watch this, and let's keep racing, NorCal.
Yeah, and for those that don't know what Wes is talking about, Rock Sonoma, they do the YouTube live feed. We had the last 3 or 4 races, all the main events were live streamed. You can find it on YouTube under the Rock Sonoma page. Then obviously on NorCalKarters.com, I shared a bunch of the content as well. But the live racing was Rock Sonoma. And it was such a fun project. It was really fun to be a part of it. It's I know the first couple of races I announced were rough. Like, I didn't even want to listen to myself. But then I realized, wait a second, I'm supposed to be painting a picture for people, not just saying 100cc, come to the grid. So, but yeah, so 2022, it's on the books to do it again. So thank you. Thanks, Wes, for mentioning that, because that was a lot of fun.
You can do it, Jason. You just need more practice.
I need motivation signs around my computer.
If there was a certain Wesley Boswell that was sitting in the pit lane watching a race, could he come over and commentate with you?
He said he wanted to, and the couple times I had asked him, he just had too much going on. But yeah, absolutely. We can definitely have guest announcers. Even on this show too. It's like, I know Rock Sonoma, the Camerons, they're open to it. I mean, is anything to make it interesting, they're open to. And then on the NorCal Karter show, if you have a team, if you have a squad, if you have a group of people you want to bring in and talk about karting, just let us know.
If it was a great
that's what
race,
this whole thing is about.
We could tell, our kind of idea is like, if we have like a great race, then we can bring everyone in to talk about it as well. So we're waiting for the season to start. We got some big things in the works.
Yep.
Exciting.
So Ashley, what do you want to say for your parting words?
Oh, my parting word.
Your parting words, yeah.
So thank you everyone for joining in. Of course, as Wesley mentioned, we all are keeping the Dubato family in our prayers and in our hearts. We are all with you, and Colby will be missed very, very much. And we'll see you next week. If you want to talk about karting, come on our show. Tell your friends. All right.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that one up, but to those that are watching, listening, thank you very much. Ashley and I, we've been going back and forth. The first year that I started doing the podcast, it was like I called it the year of the club, and that was 2020. And then 2021 was kind of the year of the promoter. I'm not a race promoter. I'm trying to help promote other promoters. And, I really try to get information from the promoters on the prizes they offered. And some of the cool things they're offering is added value to their series. So that was 2021. And 2022, I don't know how this is going to sit over, but I'm just going to say it. 2022, Ashley and I were going back and forth on What is the theme? And with recent events in karting, we decided we're probably going to make the theme, like a suicide awareness theme, because 2021 we lost 3 karters, and it's tough to talk about. So at the end of the shows, starting next week, we'll have hotline information, website information. It's never going to be easy to talk about ever, and everyone goes through it differently. But I think that's about the only fitting thing we can do. The show is about karters. It's about supporting each other, promoting karting. So that'll be the 2022 theme, and hopefully we don't ever have to talk about something like this again. So thank you to our guests that came on tonight. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week. So thank you very much. NorCalKarters.com. Check it out. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. And my slogan for the year, if we all got one person in a karting this year, we would double. So that's it. And thank you for tuning in.